really think people understand how much work it actually takes to succeed at any high level of football. In today's video, I'm going to really break down what it actually takes to be one of the better players on a football team or in the country. So stay tuned. What is good, YouTube? It is your guy KJ back here with another video, and today we are going to break down the mental side of the game that a lot of people aren't really aware of. All right, we have something special for you guys, so make sure you guys stay tuned. If you're an athlete, definitely take notes because this is something that will change your life forever. But before we get to the video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and join the desireLess crew. We're constantly uploading bangers weekly. And also, if you want written format information and tips and strategies and tactics to help you elevate and dominate as a player, subscribe to our email list. Link to that in the description down below. So if you guys are interested in that, check that out. But without further ado, I am ready to get into the video. Like I said, I think a lot of people just think that playing football is easy. Obviously, if you're a football player, you understand it's not as easy as it seems. But I think a lot of people just think that we just wake up, we play on Saturdays or we play on Sundays, and after that we go home and we just live regular life. We play the game all day. We're the person who gets cherished all the time. We're the cool kid, and you know, we're lazy and this and that. Football is such a mental challenge, and it is really hard on you mentally, especially throughout a long season and even an off season, depending on who you are, what your situation is. So I'm gonna break that down. Let's just start off for starters, okay? The basics that everybody knows, that football is a really physical game. You get hit, you get banged up, but you need to understand that that also is a mental side to that too, because you know you're gonna get messed up. You know you're gonna get hit, man. You know, going into a game or going into any situation that it could possibly be your last play ever. It could possibly be your last down ever. And you gotta kind of psych your mind up to be able to not only think about that, but be able to perform at a level where if you're a running back like me, I'm a running back, I know that I'm going to get hit a lot in the game. I know that if I'm going against a top defense, like, man, you've seen how these guys act on film. You see how these guys go crazy and they go balls to walls hard every play. You're like, dang, man, like this is going to be a rough game. Or if it's cold outside, this and that. Mentally, as an athlete, I have to prepare myself going into that game where I know I'm going to get hit. I know I'm going to get beat up. I know it's not going to be an easy game, but you still have to get yourself right mentally. I know everybody looks at the talent and they look at the physical side like, man, this guy is talented, he's gifted, he should just dominate, but it doesn't go like that because it's so much to the game that goes into mentally. Like I said, not only just the physical part of just like mentally knowing that you got to take the hits, but also the strategy and build up throughout the week. If you're playing at a high level of football, the preparation for that week is a lot. Like I said, we don't just go out there, practice, go home and do whatever. No, you're there from the morning, depending if you're in college or if you're in the NFL or anything like that. The NFL guys, they're there from 6 in the morning till 8 in the morning. It's longer than 9 to 5. You know, if you're in college, obviously you have like certain stuff in the morning, you have classes, but you come back and you're practicing, you gotta watch film of your own. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Like how I used to do when I was coming up and I was in college last year is that each day I'll have days leading up to the week. So let's say after the game Sunday is recovery day for me. I'm getting my body right, I'm watching the game, you know, taking pointers, taking tips from my coach, learning, okay, what can I do better, what did I do well. Then Monday is a reset week. So whatever happened that Sunday, whether you had the emotional roller coaster of a good game or a bad game, it doesn't matter no more. When you get to that Monday I'm focusing on, okay, who do we have on this opponent? Okay, now we got to break down, at least depending on the point of the season. If it's early in the season, you might only have 1 or 2 games to watch. Well, that could be a blessing and a curse because, like, okay, I don't have that much film to watch. Maybe I'm not to watch that much film, but also you don't really have that much information on your opponent. Also, if you're deep into the season, you have 8 games of this opponent. You have 9, 10 games of this opponent that you got to break down. You don't want to miss nothing because you want to see what are these teams' tendencies, what are their go-to coverages, what are their who's their go-to players. You want to study what they do, how do they play, everything. Every team plays different. The teams you watch on Sunday or Saturday, every scheme is different. I know in Madden, the schemes are very similar. You do this and everything, but like how they're coached and everything is different. So as an athlete, I gotta know, man, like it's a long week of studying and watching film. It ain't easy. We ain't watching the TV cut of film with Tony Romo and Tom Brady talking. No, we're watching all 22 from the wide view, the narrow view, the inbox view, all these different views, and we're replaying it. We're playing the play, pause, play, pause, play, pause, looking at slight things. Okay, this linebacker, is he easy to trigger? Is this guy flowing? Is this safety? Does he come down fast? Does he sit back and wait for the opponent? Like all that stuff that we have to watch. So Monday, what I would do is I'll just break down, I'll just look at, okay, like what does this team do? I'm breaking down, okay, what's their go-to players, what's their goal, how do they like to play? And then Tuesday, that's when I kind of get down into, okay, scheme. Okay, what do these guys really like to do on first down, second down, third down? And then you get to Wednesday and Thursday, now I'm kind of breaking down what are these guys' tendencies on the down. See, what are their favorite blitzes? What are in the situation, red zone, they're back in the end zone, all this. And then I'm looking at the players too. Like at the end of the week, I'm more focused on the players. Like, what is this guy like? Who is he? I'm doing information. At least me, I'm looking at this guy up on social media. I'm looking, okay, who is this guy? What type of work he put in the off season? This guy, is he a partier? Is he a drinker? Is he a grinder? You kind of can tell from social media. It might sound crazy, but I like to go in. I like to look at my opponents. I like to know who they are. I like to know what they look like outside of that helmet. Like I want to know all this information, and that's just something that I feel like is needed if you want to succeed at a high level. So that just covers the film study, and like you got to realize I'm watching film at least 2-3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. On top of if you're in college classes, and obviously if you're in the league, it's much more complex because you're at a higher level. The mental side of it is a lot of work. You're not just going out there and being dumb and playing football. The days that a dummy who just run and hit, that is gone, man. much anybody play with guys who just crash outs, you don't realize crash outs ain't it no more. Who's the last crash out you saw that was really good at football? It don't really come that too often. The crash outs are out. You gotta be smart. Maybe they can play on kickoff and kickoff return, but there you gotta be a smart player and you gotta be in tune to what's going on. So on top of that, you gotta deal with practice. If your body's beat up and you're battling injuries, that's another mental barrier that you have to go through because this stuff hurts. Like, you don't want to skip practice because you need the reps, you need repetition, you need to go out there and get better. The thing is, like, if you don't practice throughout the season, you just play the game, your skill is going to deteriorate because you're not getting better. You know, what's not trained is lost. It never just stays in the middle. Either you get better one day or you lose and you don't get better. And on top of that, you got to deal with like recovery, you got to deal with injuries, you got to deal with the coaching tips. It is a lot that goes into it, and it gets hard as the longer the season goes. You see these guys in the NFL, they're playing 18 games in the regular season. That is a lot of things dealing with. You know, did you play good? A lot of film, a lot of studying, a lot of injuries. Like, it's a lot, man. And especially if you're battling an injury, you can't perform your best. And now you're still getting graded. Fans on the sidelines, they don't know anything of what's going on because your injury reports aren't out. They don't know what's going on in the locker room. They don't know, maybe you having family issues or battling an injury and you're not playing well. They're like, oh, this guy sucks. Get him off the field. This guy's terrible. Little do they know what goes into it. How this guy preparing? Maybe he's freaking off a shot of Toradol. He has a grade 3 strain and he's out there battling because why? Because his contract, he has to play a certain amount of games, so he has to go out there and play or his family can't eat, you know? Or if a college athlete and this guy got to grind, the same thing. He's trying to get drafted. He's trying to go out there and put on good film and try to play and try to be there for their brothers. You know, he's a leader. He's a vocal guy on the team where he knows all the calls, he knows what to check. It's important for them to be out there. So a lot of fans don't understand that when they're watching the game, like, oh man, this guy sucks. He's washed. They always say that this guy's washed. Like, not everybody's washed. Just because you get older doesn't mean you're gonna get washed. Just because you didn't have the same production doesn't mean you get washed. So many other things that go into it. So we just covered over the in-season side of the mental hurdle of like practice, film, the game, your mindset of going at war, because you're out there like war. Have you ever guys watched the movie 300? And you see how these Spartan warriors, they were like really crazy. They was like, you know, fearless, this and that. That's the mindset you gotta have going into a game, because you going out there and you're banging for hours and you're gonna lose some battle. You're gonna get hit hard. You're gonna do this. You gotta hit somebody hard. You gotta do some things you might be uncomfortable doing. You know, I'm a running back. I gotta pick up a blitz of a linebacker who's 240 coming at me and I'm 180. You know, and I gotta pick this guy up. You know, so I gotta set myself up psychologically to be able to, okay, I don't care. No matter if I win or I lose, I gotta take this hit because I can't let my quarterback down. I can't let my team down. There's a lot that goes into that. And then you don't get to the off season, because no matter if you had a good season or a bad season, whatever you did, it restarts. So let's say you put in so much work, you went crazy this off season, you grinded and achieved all your goals, you start from square one, just like the Eagles. The Eagles just won a Super Bowl. They're starting from square one when no matter when they get into the off season. And the thing is, you gotta go through that whole grind again, especially as a college athlete or any athlete at a high level. The training is extremely hard. If you have a legit strength coach, you have a legit trainer who's trying to get you better, who's trying to push you to your limit. The training that you go to is physical, yes, like you get strong physically, you're in the best shape physically, but it is so hard mentally. Like, I remember this thing we had, this thing at Ohio called it a gogi. And back to the Spartan reference, the gogi is what, if you're a young Spartan growing up and you reach the age of 7, you go to the gogi, pretty much training until you're like 18, 19, and it's brutal, crazy training to prepare you to become a Spartan warrior, which they were the highest regarded warrior, the highest echelons of warriors at that time. I was there, have a whole movie about it. So we had a thing called the gogi, and this is for like underclassmen or redshirt guys, which I was a redshirt guy. And man, when I tell you, we were doing some of the hardest stuff ever. I'm talking about, we were carrying these plates, walking miles, lunging, running, lifting. We had this one workout, we had like bands on our arms, so like it restricted blood flow. We were all lined up across the line, 100 yards, like 30 of us, 100 yards. It's pulling our bands. We got a plate workout. We got to all be in sync. Bro, you have no blood flow in your arms. Oh my gosh, I feel like I really couldn't, like some of the reps I couldn't do. Like, I really couldn't do it physically. I couldn't do it. And on top of that, you're going through so much pain. I think we went to like 8, 9, 10 weeks of that every Friday, bro. It was terrible. It was so hard mentally. And on top of that, you got to deal with school. You got to do that every day. Like the training, bro, like it's intense. Like guys who want to play college football, especially guys who want to be elite, you got to do more on top of that. So then you got to go through the brutal training of, you know, lifting hard every day, you know, pushing your body, going against your body. You know, you're putting yourself through a lot of stress, a lot of cortisol. It's not healthy. I mean, it's like when you're training for performance, you're training to be elite, you're not gonna necessarily be the healthiest person in the world. Like you're putting a big load, and on top of that, you can't do the same as everybody else. If you want to be great, you want to be somebody who's achieving at the highest level, you're gonna be putting even more work in on top of that, recovering at an elite level, keep going back and forth. And then on top of that, like sometimes you have injuries. I used to have injuries throughout the off season just because I'm a fast guy. So like if I constantly run fast, or sometimes I might have a tweak, a hamstring strain, so you got to deal with that. So then that kind of resets you in the off season. 8 months. It's like, you know, football doesn't play again until August. Season ends in December, January, depending where you play, depending on how long your season is, but you have 8 months to reinvent yourself, or 8 months to pretty much start over. So whatever you did before, whoever you are, doesn't matter no more. You got to reach that level again. Me and Cam, we did this hill. This hill is about 100 meters, 110 meters, like a full track uphill. And we ran this 10 times. We did 5 with a weighted vest, 5 without a weighted vest. And that was one of the hardest things I ever did in my life. And that's something that me and Cam want to continue to do every off season. And this is the thought of thinking about doing that again, already like, bro, like I gotta go into that and literally kill myself. Like after the workout, I couldn't, and I'm a guy who never taps out of work. I didn't tap out, but I'm not a guy who ever, like, you know, I'm in elite peak shape all year round. You know, I'm not a guy who's out of shape. I take care of my body, I eat right, I train hard, everything like that. But after that hill, man, I was laid out in the grass. I didn't care. Mosquitoes, everything was itching. I didn't care. I was tired. At rep 4, I was already like, man, how the heck am I gonna get 10? Rep 4, I'm lightheaded, okay? So like, and that's nothing that me and Cam, we're gonna go do it again. And we might have to do more reps. We did 10 last year, so how we gonna elevate? We gotta do 12. We gotta get better. So even myself thinking about that, it's like, man, like I gotta go through all that again. You gotta go through the process of being patient. Long off season, you can't go out there and hit nobody until next season. So you gotta be consistent on top of that. It can be tough. On top of somebody, we haven't gotten with somebody who's dealing with stuff at home. You know, at home adversity. Depending on what you got, a spouse, a loved one, a family, a girlfriend, anything like that. Everybody know girlfriends be tripping nowadays, man. So sometimes you gotta battle through that. It's a lot that goes through it. And through my time, I found that, you know, it's not as easy as it seems. Yes, that college football athlete looks glorified. They're like, man, this is the coolest guy in the world. He's the guy who has all the women, all the clout. Everybody wants to be like him. People come up to him. He's fast. He's in shape. But it's not easy, bro. It's not everybody can do it. And you probably seen glimpses of it. Guys who were in high school and they didn't want to play college football. I've been with guys who played college football and they stopped because it's a lot. It's a lot of discipline. You can't be a regular student. You can't be partying throughout the week and expect to be elite. No, you got to sacrifice. It's a lot of sacrifices that comes with being a football player, especially if you want to be a great football player. Me and Cam, we make a lot of sacrifices to push ourselves every day. So the mental side of football is definitely big and it's definitely underrated. I don't think a lot of people will understand how much goes into it and how much it goes to being great. Is like, you got to be mentally resilient. You got to battle through the ups and downs because it's a lot of ups. Some days you feel like you're the best athlete in the world, and some days you feel like you want to quit. Some days you feel like you're not good enough. And the thing is, you can't quit though. You got to keep going. You have to keep going. You got to prove yourself right. You can't let the haters win. That's what I always say. You can't let the haters win, because every time you quit, every time you act lazy, the people who doubted you, the people who say you couldn't be something, you're making them right. Were they wrong about you? Were they making a good assessment? They were like, yeah, you're nothing. You're not that good. You're lazy. And if you're not achieving your goals, you're not trying hard with it. They were just right. Rather than proving them wrong and going out there and putting in more work, going out there and recover at elite level, going out there and dominate in the competition. So in this video, I kind of just want to point out the mental side of being a college football player, being a college athlete, or being any high level athlete. It's a lot that goes into it. So if you're a young athlete preparing to hit that level, prepare mentally. Be ready to understand that you're going to suffer a lot. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but don't be scared of it, because it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you more resilient in life, you know, throughout sports and after sports. You know, you're going to be disciplined. You're going to be resilient. You're going to be confident. So don't shy away from it. Run towards it. One thing my coach always says, run towards the roar. Don't run away from it. If a lion's roaring or something's going on, you want to run towards it. I want to run towards the action. I want to run towards the work. I don't want to run away from it, because at the end of the day, it's not going to make you better. So hopefully you guys learned something from this video, and hopefully I made this fun and educational for you guys. Yeah, that's all I got for you. Subscribe to the channel, and also, like I said, join the email list if you're interested. And if you're a high school athlete, you want to start getting offers overnight, you want to know the principles of how I went from a guy who didn't start in high school to going D1, download the free ebook, How to Get Offers Overnight. Link to that's in the description down below. I also got more tools coming for you guys to help you guys elevate, especially a nutrition plan that's going to break down how to eat as an athlete. That's coming soon. So it's your guy KJ, and we'll see you guys later.